So I just finished watching a television show from Netflix. It's actually a French show. It only has 6 episodes, and the title is The Chalet. Now, when I started watching this show, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't see any trailers, so I didn't know what the plot was. I didn't know where it was going. So it was a lot of fun for me. It's like really seeing everything for the first time. And there's just a lot of mystery for me. So this actually reminded me so much of Agatha Christie's book, And Then There Were None. So there were so many similar storylines, I think. With the show, the first episode, we were introduced to the characters. So first we have Manu and his girlfriend Adele, who was expecting. I think she was already 2 months pregnant by this time. And they were on their way to Manu's childhood hometown in the French Alps, a very remote village called Valmoline. So by the time this show was taking place, it was the present time, and there were very few people living there at that point. And then we were introduced to the other characters at the train station. There were so many of them, I couldn't remember all their names at the time. I had a very hard time tracking who's who. So we have Philip and his 2 sons, Thierry and Laurent, and their partners, Tiffany and Erica. And then we have Sebastian and his girlfriend, model slash actress Maud, and the beautiful Alice and her boyfriend Fabio, the chef. And then in the middle of episode 2, we suddenly had a flashback to 1997. So we get introduced to a family, the Rodiers. This was 20 years ago. And we get to know this family who used to live in the same cottage where the group was going to stay. So we have the dad, who's a writer. His name is, I can't remember his name right now. Oh, I think it's Jean-Louis, and his wife Françoise, and their 2 children, Julien and Amélie. So apparently Jean-Louis was having a writer's block, and his wife wanted to be supportive, so she decided that she probably thought it was a good idea to go to Valmoline so he can have a fresh perspective, and he might find something inspiring that he can write about, which he actually did. And he found that inspiration in a woman named Muriel. Yes, Philip's sister. So at this time she was working at the bar, and that's where she met Jean-Louis. So they had a small affair, which understandably created a lot of friction in Jean-Louis and Francois' marriage. And unfortunately, Julien, the eldest son, actually witnessed a couple of times the affair of Jean-Louis and Muriel. So he was pretty angry about it, but he couldn't confront his dad about what he saw. At this flashback, we also get to see Julien's point of view. So we get to follow him as he started to fall in love with Alice. They have a very nice story. It's like the usual teenage puppy love. But they really had a very good connection from the beginning, and Alice really did like him. And then we also got to meet the young Manu. He was very likable even then when he was still younger. And then Sebastian and the 2 boys, Thierry and Laurent. So Sebastian and the 2 boys didn't like Julien at the time because Sebastian has feelings towards Alice. So it was like an unrequited love. So they started to bully Julien, and they did a lot of bad things. So Julien was not very happy about that. I don't think he was really happy with the village at this time, and he probably wanted to get away. So going back to 2017, to the present time, now we learned that they're all stranded in the village because the bridge collapsed, and we're shown this random guy who died, in when the bridge collapsed. I didn't know who he was at that point. So for me, it was just a random guy who died, and then the mailman also died. So I feel like what a terrible feeling to be trapped in a very remote village, not having any internet connection or any phone lines. So you have no connection to the outside world. For them, the only good thing about this is that their pantry is full and they have a chef with them. And also they have a couple of people who knows how to hunt for food. So I don't think they're going to die of starvation, but they are definitely going to die one by one. So there were also some deaths here that were just really freak accident, like Erica's. I was really surprised when that happened. I mean, like, I couldn't believe it at first. It was very quick, like, what? She died because she slipped. And then her husband found her and he also died through an arrow shot to his back. And then Laurent died because of the bear claw. And Tiffany, I think, was the saddest one when she decided to lie beside Laurent in the freezer, in the walk-in freezer, and she died with him. I think that was the saddest, one of the saddest ones, because they were supposed to get married. They were going to marry in just a few days, and that was very tragic. That was a very tragic story for me. And then the next one who died, okay, so by this time, Philip, I feel like, I was starting to feel sorry for Philip, like, he just lost two of his sons. And at this point, I didn't know the whole storyline. I didn't know what happened in the past. So I was feeling very sorry for him. And then he died, and Laurent also died, and I was feeling sorry for Mathilde and their daughter, Leonore. Although I felt like I was expecting Leonore to be, Mathilde to be more sad about the situation, but, you know, she was just sad, but she didn't really bulge her eyes out as I expected. And then we have Christine's death. I was surprised when Etienne shot her. Or I guess I wasn't really surprised because she was really losing it. She was panicking, but she wanted to confess her guilt, whatever happened in the past. And Etienne didn't want to do that, so he shot her. And later on, he was also killed by the two perpetrators. So we go to the ones who actually did it. In the first episode, we were shown a woman's hand when she was trying to connect to the internet and nobody was supposed to be able to. So we know at the time that one of them did it, but it's just a question of who. So I started to look at the ladies, and I even tried to go back and see who has a gold handbag, but nobody was wearing one in the first episode, so I didn't really know. Now we have Adele. In the beginning, she was really acting very odd. She was very, I think, introverted. She has a lot of issues. She was having a lot of nightmares, and she was seeing a lot of things like blood creeping from the floorboards, and she was trying to feel the walls. So at first, I thought she has like some sixth sense. She can feel, you know, the bad things that happened in the house. But as the episode went on, I started to ask the question of what was her history. I mean, she barely knew Manu, and as Alice said, she got pregnant really quickly. But I just couldn't believe it, you know, I just couldn't believe that she was Amelie, the little girl. How did that happen? So we have Laurent as well, suddenly appearing out of nowhere. Now, going back to episode 1, I realized he didn't come with them on the train, so he just appeared out of nowhere. But I was really surprised when he showed up with a gun. I thought he was dead, so he was definitely the red herring in this show. So I was really surprised by Laurent. I actually thought it was Fabio. The writers did a good to take us take our scents off the trail, because I really thought Fabio could definitely be Julian. I mean, him, picking the berries, and I remember Alexandre the hermit once told him that he's going to show him where the berries are. So I thought, I really suspected Fabio, especially when he disappeared. But I was actually sad when he died in the end, because I really liked his character, and I really liked him with Alice. So with Sebastian in the middle of the season, I think by the third episode, I was really trying to start to like him. I know that he did a lot of bad things when he was younger, but he was still young at the time. So, and he was trying to apologize to, and he really seemed very remorseful. I was really frustrated by what happened, because when Sebastian and Alice visited Alexandre, and he told Alice that he wanted to spend some time with her there, and he was going to hunt for her and all that. And Alice seemed to soften up to him. She was even laughing at his jokes. I really thought that, you know what, this could probably work. It was sweet. He was very loyal. He was just really very in love, and he never got over it. But in the end, when he did what he did to Alice, like, there was no going back from that. That was really unforgivable, and there was really no excuse for that. And I think he really jumped the gun. He thought that everything was okay and he can do this. I mean, having his dad as 18, I'm not really surprised that he turned out to be the way he is, and the values that he had growing up. And then, so finally we got to learn the reason why the Rodiers were killed. It's because of the lottery ticket. So it seems that they won, and Muriel gifted him the ticket. Now, in the real world, I don't really know how that would really work. Like, if I have a friend, and probably as a joke, I bought a ticket, and I gifted it to my friend, and my friend won. I don't know. I guess I'm just going to hope that she gives me something, just as a thank you. So anyway, so I was really surprised. I wasn't expecting that. I really thought they were killed because it has something to do with the affair that Muriel and Jean-Louis had. By the way, regarding Muriel, I really feel sad about her storyline too, because I really feel like she really loved Jean-Louis, and Jean-Louis really basically just used her storyline. And I think that even Adele by the end really started to understand her. Although when we were shown at the end, what really happened, what really went on in the house that fateful night, it's really very hard to feel sorry for any of them, for all four of them, because of what they did. It was just point blank, cold-blooded, what they did. And also Philip killing his wife afterwards, so she couldn't go to the police. So all in all, this show, it has a lot of mystery. It has a very good storyline, pretty confusing at times, and maybe quite overwhelming because of the flashbacks. But anyway, I did really like it. I liked the storyline. I liked the characters. Actors and actresses were really great on this show. I just want to make note of what Alexandre told his cousin Francoise, that it's not really the village that's rotten, it's the people living in it. So anyway, if you like my commentary, and if you want to hear more about what I think about other shows, please subscribe to my channel and press the like button. Thank you.